everybody, it's me LTAR and I'm back, and I'm doing a tutorial video, a deep dive ultimate guide tutorial video that kind of goes into everything. Now this isn't all about getting to point A to point B as fast as possible. This guide is trying to help brand new players understand what's going on. So if you've been playing the game forever, you know this video isn't necessarily for you, but you may find like a little bit of information that you didn't know before. So I encourage you to watch it if you want to. But this is a guide to basically help new players kind of figure out what's going on. So that's what this is for. Here we go. I'm going to be quiet so you can enjoy it.
Since that day you saved my life, I have presumed I knew you. But now, 1,000 letters from your father go unopened, yet one scribbled from your sister changes everything? I didn't even know you had a sister. We are broke, old pal. We can't afford a passage back to your old world, back to your family. Not unless you suddenly remembered what work is. Dynamite fishing? You're serious? Well, the village north is always short on food. Remember when we escaped the pits back when? Still some dynamite.
Alright, he's being quiet now so we can talk. Right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the UI. So up here you will find a bunch of information. Then this information starts with your nat time, whether or not you're available to do online play and stuff like that. Up here is your day cycle, so you could change to night time if you wanted, which can be really quite pretty really. Or you could just have it to, you know, slowly cycle through each ones if you want to. Now this can have some really pretty effects, knowing the areas and whatnot that you do. So that's what that's all about. You've got your game speed, pause, which will do this. You can, well, press the same button. You can slow down your game, or you can speed it up. You can see just the light, you know, the levels of speed that we're talking. So now I have it set to middle mouse button, allows me to rotate. This is, I believe, the default. The default may be to pan your camera up and down, left and right, and maybe the mouse buttons. If that is the case for you and you prefer it, then that's entirely up to you. But if you want to change it, you can just go into options and you can go into controls and change it just here. See how it says pan camera? You know, you can just click here. You know, I've changed it to Q. You just click there, change it to W. Entirely up to you how you prefer. So if pressing escape is how you get to this menu, and you can see there's a bunch of options here. If you click tile screen, it'll just take you back to that main menu button. Is it Annopedia? Kind of gives you some tips and whatnot in there if you're ever struggling. And load and save game and whatnot. Save and exit. So that's how you move around. SWDS, whatever you saved your settings to. I'm using the middle mouse to move around and whatnot, like that. And then up here, menu, that kind of brings that mode up, or escape, it's entirely up to you. Just going to get rid of that. And then over here you can see that we've got the quest book. Now at the moment we've got an active quest, and you can see that it's been, this is who's issued it. And if we click here, it'll kind of jolt us over. So basically what that's telling us to do is that this building here is a building of significance and we should probably go to it. So we have a ship available to us. Now what we can do is we can click it you see when we go over, it kind of says, hey, you're hovering over me. So what we can do is we can hover over it and click. There's another way we can highlight it as well, and that's by dragging a box. So that's just clicking and holding and dragging over it and clicking it. Now when we do that, you'll notice that the ship is still got the little ball circular indicator that it's highlighted, and it also brings up a window for us to look at. So this is the name of the ship, the Endeavour. It gives us a brief description of the ship, and if we click this button, it'll jump us to it. If we click this button, it'll get rid of it, and then we'll have to reselect. Okay. This button here is for transferring goods between harbours or ships. Comes in handy, so if we move over here, we'll be able to transfer goods. But generally, in quest checks, whenever you get close to a building that's wanting a particular good, it'll kind of grab them for you anyway. This one here is to sell the ship. Sometimes when you go to a harbour, you can kind of sell ships. This one is for setting patrol routes, but we're not really going to be doing that. But we can if we want. If you want to cancel your patrol route, you just click here. All sorted. If you've got any items on your ship, they will indicate here.
You never told me you had a sister. What else haven't you told me about?
Alright, we can always click him off. And if we want to go into more details about our quests, we can always jump into this screen and it'll give us a little bit more information. Say we're having some difficulty or we're struggling, we don't quite know what to do. Brilliant. If you're a bit like me and you have dyslexia, you can sometimes get him
Dynamite fishing?
to repeat
You're serious?
the audio.
Well, the village north is always short on food.
There we go. It's going to tell us what our objective is and also what the reward is. And this is what we're after to kind of conclude. There's also a filter option as well, just in case you've got a lot going
A
off.
long sea journey won't make me give up my vow to stick by you.
Okay. There's also generally a little button here if the quest is cancelable, where you can kind of cancel the quest if you don't want to do it. So just down here is a bunch of presets for us, but we're not going to worry too much about that. Let's have a little explore of the area. That's pretty cool. Lovely game, Anno. The graphics on it are wonderful, especially at the high settings. So it's asking us to go over to the lighthouse, so that's what we're going to do. So we've just clicked it, and then we've just right-clicked to start to go there. Now, because we've got so close to it, it's basically recognised that, and now it's asking us, do we want to interact? The answer is yes. Now, that's allowed us to get these sticks of dynamite suddenly have appeared. So a little bit lower, you can see that we've got a damage and our health. So we've got these new quest items that have just appeared over here. So we're going to move over, and what we're going to do is we're going to click the sticks of dynamite, and that has now given us a circle of influence that we can interact with. So for example, if we want to throw it over here, we'll probably end up moving the ship to do that. So the idea is we're going to try and blow up some fish, but let's see if we can.
They're not expecting Queen Parrotfish.
Direct hit.
Anything with
Now
fin
the icon
will-
changed to do the pickup icon. Now you'll notice now that we've got fish. Now some items
What the chimichurri was that, Boom?
can stack. So this is a stackable item, so we're going to do the same. See if we can get them both at the same time.
Still trying
No.
to get used to that smell of char.
So again, we're just going to select our ship and then right click. And then you can see now that we've got both of those items. And we're going to do the same.
You do have an eye for opportunity. After all, it's not TNT the locals are short of.
There we go. So now we've got the three. So now we've achieved
All
the required.
blistered fish they could ever want.
Brilliant. So now you can see that
That
it's...
first bang, I knew it was you. So, come show me what you got this time.
Okay. Alright. So now if we click it, it's telling us that we want to interact over here. So that's where we're going to tell our ship to go. Lovely island, isn't it? Lovely.
Ah, that burnt reek. Ugh. Hand over whatever it is and I'll help you get rid of it.
Brilliant. So we're going to say yes to the interaction.
Here are your tickets. Hurry, drifters. The
You can
boat
see
is
that we
leaving
got our
soon,
ticket.
and nobody wants you to miss it.
So, this is it. We're leaving paradise behind. You never talked much about family and the like. But you're dead serious about this, aren't you? No matter. I made a vow to defend you. And I don't break an oath. Even if a blind man could see you leap into the deepest pit of dung.
Delightful.
I have never asked anything of you, firstborn. Not when you stole away a tiptoe, leaving the family burden at your little sister's door. Our father is accused of high treason. Dare you to believe it? Will you now stand by, knowing gentle father is indungeoned? It must kill him. Please come home. We need you. Is it really you, dearest sibling? I never dared hope you'd return. Do you remember Bright Sands? Of course you do. We loved it here. It's changed now. The Royal Council support Uncle Edvard. Father barely cold, and he's pulling everything down.
All those houses. You never said how wealthy you were. Why were we selling fish and sleeping in barns?
Never told your friend of Good and Sons? There is much to be said, but not now. Dear father's funeral begins.
Where have you been? Without you brats, we'll never be done with this obligation.
Looks like Death claimed the wrong brother.
No matter, so few are here, when they are the few he loved most.
Nobody likes a traitor, let alone his tainted offspring. Better make yourself scarce.
We shall, dear sibling, for now. I have acquired a small island with the last of my funds, and passage for all still loyal to father. Together we shall clear his name, or die trying.
Your sister reminds me of you. Must mean new adventures await, old pal.
This is it. Ditch water. End of the world. I hope you like it quiet.
Right, so the game is divided up into chapters. Well, I say the game. The campaign is divided up into
Still
chapters.
here? Establishing a rival company on that disheveled island?
Let Uncle Edvard scoff. A modest island, yes, but if you're at all like father, you'll look beyond appearances. We must shelter the good, loyal people who have shown solidarity with our family. need every hand we can get if we are to expunge this debris.
I present my humble duty to you, and am confident you'll transcend your present circumstance.
Know what Annie does with royalists? We dunk you full of fish.
All the characters are introducing themselves now. I'll probably get a couple more. No? Right, okay, everyone's finished. Brilliant. Right, so, I never mentioned about zooming in and out, did I? So the mouse wheel is rolling out, is out, and rolling in, is in. Now, you may have noticed that we've got a bunch of new UI stuff going off. So, what we've got is a whole bunch up here, a whole bunch here, a whole bunch here, a whole bunch here, and a whole bunch here. All over here we've already spoken about. So we're going to work our way this way. So over here, it tells us whatever we decided to call our game. Now, we changed it to helper. This is how many coins that we've got. And balance, what our current, whether or not we're plus or negative, how many population we've got, and what our current influence level is. So just going back to this one, you can see what our current profile level is. Now that's limited, that's basically set to whatever our population growth level gets. So the bigger the population gets, the more influence we'll gain, and the higher the level will go. Now the level can be reflected in terms of how big our economy is, because you can imagine once you have to provide all those items to everybody, that will be a reflection on how much wealth you're generating too. And then below that you have our current population and what our first kind of goal is to get more influence, and then it'll tell us what our influence is that we'll get if we achieve that. So that's this little window here, and you can see this is how close to achieving that bar we are already, which is not really making a huge amount of sense because we haven't got any population. Right, next up you can see here, so here is whatever your island's current highest population type is. So for example, if we just have farmers on this island, then I'll just look like the farmer icon. If we have workers, then it will go up to workers, and so on and so on. So that's what that's all about. It also tells us how many people are currently living on this particular island, where this one is a global population. Timber. So up here is kind of a quick access bar. At the moment, our only resource that we've kind of got available to us at the moment is timber, and that's why it's kind of showing up here. Now you can swap these out with anything that you prefer to be there. I always recommend having your production goods there, but they will kind of naturally fill in as they come available. But you'll see what I mean as I go through. And this one's quite an interesting one, this one. So this one gives us a basic brief statement about the island and how wonderful it is. And what I mean by wonderful, I mean how attractive the island is. So you'll notice that we're 275 out of 450. Now once we hit over 450 or 450, then we'll go to a slightly more attractive statement about our island. So now attractiveness is something that we can kind of work on as we go, but there are a bunch of things that will affect our island's attractiveness, like pollution, like broken buildings, stuff like that, like or particular types of buildings. Like, so if I had an island full of pigsties, for example, that probably would be very nice for people to live near. We've got the name of our island. We can call it anything we like. So there's a pretty nifty name. And then it'll give us a brief statement about our island there, just, you know. And here, this will tell us the share situation on our island. Now, you can take islands in lots of different ways. You can fight them, or you can take, which is like taking over them, or you can kind of buy them out. So at the moment, no one's interested in buying our shares, but this is the amount of shares that we own. Now we can sell some of our shares if we so wish. Say we're running a tad short on dollar and we need a few extras. We can sell some of our shares, but we're not going to do that. But if we wanted to, we could. Now, if we wanted to take over somebody else's island, for example, and we didn't really want to fight them for whatever reason, we could literally buy each one of their shares. Once we've got all 5 here bought, we can then have the right to purchase the island outright, which is generally 5 times the amount of the last share that you bought. So if that was $1 million, that was $1 million, that was $1 million, that was $1 million, and that one was $2 million, then it's very likely that the island purchase price would be 10 million, because that one was times 2 of that, times 2 times 10. Yep, that's that. And if you buy a share from somebody else's island, you can gain dividends from that. So essentially, let's say that island was making 1,000 profit, you would get a division of that profit depending on how many shares. So let's say it's divided by 5, so you would get 20% of that island's profit, which means if the island was making a profit of 1,000, you would gain about 200 coins for that. So that's what that's all about. And it kind of gives us a bit of basic information of the island. So that's that top window sorted. Now down here is kind of the world map. That's not unlocked yet because we have to do some stuff in the campaign, but basically it will appear. And then here, this is basically this main screen that you're kind of going to be interacting with an awful lot when you're wanting to begin building buildings. So you'll notice that we've got like a quick access bar right at the top, which is pretty nifty. So you don't necessarily have to go into this particular tab to always find roads, for example. So we're going to talk a little bit about everything, and then we're going to start building some stuff, which I can imagine you're very eager to do. So this is our quick tab. Now, I mentioned earlier about relocating buildings. We can relocate buildings just by so. Oh, it looks like I left the cost button on. So you saw there that I clicked the relocate button and then I moved it over here. We can also copy buildings as well. So if I have a road here and I particularly like that shape, I can select everything. And then I can duplicate Z road. Now I've also got a stamp. Now stamps are a little bit complicated, but they're not that complicated. Essentially, if you want to create a stamp, you can. So I'm just going to go in the right place. It's right there. Example. So now this is a stamp. So if I want to, I can basically have this as a preset stamp. So that's how stamps work. Marvelous. If you click this button, it will bring up your construction menu. And then within your construction menu, all the tabs for the relevant citizen types will all appear. So at the moment we've only got farmers available to us, but once we unlock farmers we'll be able to build any farmer type of building on any island that we control. Beautification. Now I personally love this one, so we can do all sorts of stuff. This is where you access all your DLCs by going into there and then by individually clicking some of the cosmetic stuff and then some of the specials. Now ships, if we have any ships, this is where they're going to appear. You'll also notice that your quick access bar changed. See how it changed? If you wish to demolish, you click this button here and then you'll be able to demolish. Now this works with more or less anything as long as you control the island. You'll be able to do it. This is your upgrade button. You'll be able to upgrade buildings this way. Generally, the only buildings that are upgradable are residences. This is your skyscraper upgrade button, and this is your skin painter. So if you've got some of the DLCs, you may be able to change the style of some of the buildings. Just below here on your ship tab is what all your ships are currently doing. At the moment we don't have any, but if we have any that are idle, they would show up here. This is all of your ships, your overview button. This is your idle ships, your trade ships. So if you've got some trade routes, this is where they'll appear. If you've got them on patrol, if they're escorting, or if they're moving over to the new world, this will kind of tell you what's going off. This is the world map, just down here. If you've got multiple regions unlocked via all the DLCs, this will be where you can access them. You can also press spacebar. That will take you into this screen. So like the passage will be up here, Land Alliance will be over here, Sunken Dragons is over here, New World is over here. And you can also access the scenarios through here as well. And it's spacebar to go back. Failing that, you could literally just click this here, and if the new world was unlocked, for example, this would show. You'll notice that the icon for the old world is like a stick, like a big deer. Just down here is the way that the buildings are shown to you. So I prefer it in this one, but you may prefer this one. There's not a whole bunch, it's just the way the buildings are laid out. So, you may find it easier that way, or you may find it easier this way. This is the way I've kind of always done it, so, and it's kind of the standard. If you wish to do it the other way, that's entirely up to you. So, we're going to build a road now. So, we're going to build a road just by clicking and moving over to where we want, and then clicking again. Nice and easy. And the next building we're going to build is a marketplace. Just like so. Now, the marketplace that offers us that offers us a particular requirement. Satisfaction. So what it's going to do is it's going to allow us to
reached a new milestone.
Satisfy the farmer requirement for a marketplace. So you'll notice that I purposely built these outside of the connection point of a road. So if this building it hasn't got access to this building via a road, it will basically say, hey, I haven't got access to that building via a road. So if you don't build it, it won't do it. Same thing with the harbour building. That will always have to be connected to everything on your island. Now there are some examples where that doesn't have to be the case, but in general, if something's not working, it's probably not connected to your main network of roads. So make sure that your main network of roads is in some way connected to your harbour building if there's something not working.
Or is this some futile attempt at competition?
I'm just going to turn that to day mode.
As you are so desperate to appear responsible, you'll be pleased to hear the cost of that fantastical funeral falls to you.
It's a real squirrel kind of guy, ain't he?
Miserly, uncharitable dastard, picking and choosing what he inherits.
Okay, just going to change that back to day just by using that mode, and we're just going to pause it in that area. So, we're starting to run a little low on timber, so we're going to deal with that now. And I'll kind of walk through some of the things that have just kind of popped up as we're going. So we're just going to deal with the timber, and this is a production building, and this production building is going to require access to basically trees. So we've got some trees over here, so we're going to place one there. Now this building has a cost associated with it, a maintenance cost. It also has a construction cost of 100 coins, which is virtually nothing in terms of our current situation. So at the moment, you can see that the building is building in efficiency, and it will generate, once it's hit 100%, and this goes all the way around, it will generate as a log. There you go, you can see it's already generated 2 wood logs.
See what slander, Edvard Prince and Bright Sands.
I think we're gonna get, there we go.
Samuel's child, is it? Thank heavens. I am so ashamed of every single word your uncle had me print.
Okay.
He twists every article in his favour at our and father's expense.
Alrighty. So you'll notice I've intentionally not connected it to the road, and we've got an icon showing above our lumberjack hut. So this icon here is basically saying that we have no warehouse in range. So we can fix that. So what we're going to do is we're going to attach a warehouse within the area that it can basically deliver to. So we do have a warehouse. Now we're going to have to build a road to get those resources to the warehouse. So you'll notice that the icon's disappeared, but we have generated a new icon above our warehouse building, and if we hover over that, it'll say it's not connected to the harbour. So what we're going to do next is we're going to build another road from our connection point over to this road, which is connected to all of our other roads, which is connected to the harbour. And you'll notice that the icon has disappeared. Now, as a result of doing that, you can see that we are now delivering via this lovely little cart here wood to the warehouse. Okay, but you'll notice that the icon for wood is obviously different, because this is wood and this is timber. And you'll notice here that we have another step to basically turn that wood into the timber. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to convert that wood into timber.
Very good. I'll try not to think of the coffin.
Marvellous. Right, so while that's beginning to do that, I'll talk about some of the other icons that have kind of appeared. So just over here, we've got a bunch of new things. We've still got the quest book, we've got the event tracker, and we've got some notifications. So basically the game saves, what's going off, what the island's called, all these little bits, and what's happening. And then warnings. So for example, if a fire was to happen, that would probably indicate here. You'll notice that we've also got a minus in the amount of coins that we're making. Right, so what we're going to see next is, I'm hoping, so we've got a bunch there, so as soon as when that gets back, it'll pick up a bunch and it'll likely deliver them to this building here. So this will load up, it will then travel over with a cart, and then it will drop off the logs here. Then the logs will appear in this slot here, and then the building will then begin to process these. Now you'll see that there's an efficiency rating. Now that all relies on productivity of the base resource that's required to turn into the finished good. So you can see that this production line is relatively efficient at the moment, but there's more that we can do to make it more efficient or less efficient, depending on what our goal is. So here you can see that we've got a bunch of things that it's talking to us about. So we've got an incident chance, basically telling us how likely something is to go wrong. We can press X and it'll get rid of it. this is telling us what the area is. So at this particular building requires there to be lots of trees around it. If there wasn't enough trees, it'll then start making trees, and then it'll slowly increase up to 100%. But let's say we had another one which was here. You can see that the efficiency level drops. So having two of these buildings right next to each other kind of reduces the efficiency of them. You see? So that's what this bit kind of refers to. Then we've got the average efficiency of the building. Now at the moment it's running at 100%, and for every tick, which is a minute in this game, we are generating 4 loads of timber. So that will convert to 4 timber per minute. So you can see that every 15 seconds we are generating a timber. Obviously you times that 15 up to the point where you get to a minute, and then that'll give you your average. Now it's saying at the moment that we're running at 100%, but we can change that. We can use the worker conditions button to adjust it to either make them less efficient and make them more happy, or we can make them more efficient and less happy. You can see that it has an equal and opposite effect. If I leave on the plus of 50%, you'll notice that it went from 15 seconds to 10 seconds. So that's one way how we can influence through worker conditions to make them happier or less happy. And then we can change that here. We can just click that and go back and change it back to 0. Or we can just press the little X button and that'll stop it. And up here you can see the effect. So before it was plus or minus 13. Now we don't necessarily have to go all the way up or all the way down. We can just increase it just a little bit. And for example, we will just increase it by 10%, which means every 13 seconds we're going to get some more wood. And we're going to do the same with the lumber mill as well. Now, as a result of that, our workforce that covers those production buildings has now got a minus 8% happiness because of that interaction. However, we only have 15 people on this island that are currently working, so it can be offset by just having a larger population. But the average happiness of the island is now -4, so that's not very good. We kind of want to make that better if we can. So now we've got a little bit more timber, let's build some more houses. So let's build another 3 houses. Now this is the type of game that you can go as fast or as slow as you want. You don't have to rush through it, you can just have a nice steady journey, or you can try and do a speed run. It's up to you. You can play it as quickly or as slow as you like. So up here you can also see that we have a workforce button now. Now if we click it, it will generate the workforce conditions. Let's build a couple more houses. So you can also click and drag, and that will allow you to build like multiple if you so wish. There we go. Now some buildings, particularly service buildings like this one here, they have ranges. So you can see that there's a great big long road that goes all the way down here. Now if I click it, it'll show me the influence that this building can have and how far it reaches. So you'll notice all the way up here it's relatively quite bright green, and the further down we go, the lighter green it will go all the way up to the point where it doesn't reach anymore. Now you can extend that by having slightly nicer roads or cobblestone roads. They're nicer. and they allow people to travel faster on them, particularly carts and stuff like that, but it also extends the influence range of said building because they don't have to go as far to get to it. Now you'll notice with these residence buildings that we're starting to increase in population, and that's indicated just here by the fact that it's saying that the tenancy is going up. Now because we've got a marketplace here providing the need or fulfilling the need for the marketplace, it is going up by 5 to a maximum of 5. So as long as this building is within range of the bright green bit and not the lower bit, it should fulfill all the way up to 100%. And you can see here that it's been 100% fulfilled, so it will
sit on our hands while our one prospect was in such a state.
Okay, thanks.
So let's gather our townsfolk and ask them to spruce the place up.
Righto. Thanks. Okay, right, it's done. It's done jabbering. Brilliant. So you'll notice that this is 100%, and as a result, we will hit 5 out of 5, and that will just keep going until it's all the way 5 up to 5. Now, I think this was one of the first buildings that we built, and you can see that's already hit 5 out of 5, and then it's stabilized. So we'll talk a little bit about the tab that we've got by clicking on one of the residence buildings, and you'll see that there's a missing good required. So it's saying these guys want fish, and that if we want to keep going and getting them better and getting some money out of them and whatnot, then we'll have to provide them with some fish, and we'll tackle that. We'll talk about the portrait. Now this is the farmer portrait, and she'll jabber on at you and talk about all sorts of stuff as you click on her, and she'll tell you if she's having a good time or a bad time, or if she wants something. She'll kind of give you little hints and whatnot about that. This is the incident chance. It basically tells you how likely stuff is to happen, like fires, plagues and stuff like that. If you want to get rid of it, you can just press X. And then we've got needs. Now needs, this is where you need to fulfill everything within the needs section to be able to upgrade the resident to the next citizen type. Now this can be easy at the earlier levels and a lot harder at the further down the line levels. So you can imagine, because this is like the first citizen class, it's relatively easy to do it. Then after that you've got happiness. Now the happiness ones, this is where you get quite a lot of coins for. So, but we'll talk a little bit more about the needs on here. So you can see here we've got a nice little indicator of how close we are to being able to upgrade. So once this goes all the way around, we can kind of click it. Now this will only increase once we satisfy all the needs. So at the moment we're at 5 out of a maximum of 25. So if we satisfy everything we can for the farmers, we can have a maximum of 25. Now we can even increase that number a little bit more with some items and stuff like that, but essentially this is kind of our limit. And next to that we've got the building change, like skin thing, so we can change the type of the building to look a certain way if we so like. So I might go for the blue ones. They seem relatively nice.
Life is so-so.
Right, let's talk about happiness. Oh no, let's talk a little bit more about the fish. So if we provide fish to these farmers, it will give us a additional farmer times 3. So we'll get 3 additional farmers, and it will also give us 1 coin, which isn't a huge amount, but the main thing that it's given us is the more farmers bit. That's what we're interested in, and you can see that we'll get that per resident. So that'll increase quite a chunk. So let's start providing some fish. So you'll notice just down here that a new thing unlocked, and that is the fish. So we're going to build that. We're going to stick it right next to our harbour building. Now this is a production building, and you'll notice it's kind of telling us that we've got no warehouse in range, even though it is literally adjacent to one. So we're going to have to build a dirt road to satisfy that. Now, because we're so close to the pier, it's kind of changed to the to the slightly nicer road, but that's still just classed as a dirt road, so it's not going particularly fast, but it just looks nicer, so I'm not going to complain. Now you'll see here that we're producing just like we're producing the other one, and the ratio there is 30 every minute. Sorry, every 30 seconds it will produce 1 ton of fish, which means every minute we're producing 2 tons of fish. And down here is the production cost and upkeep of the building. So this is how much it's costing, this is how many workers it's costing, this is how much health that building has, because it can be destroyed. And these are the working conditions. This is the resource, which is obviously the ocean, and that's the resource it's generated. And there you go. So it packages it and then it sticks it to the warehouse, and you can see. So the warehouse has a storage. It has a island storage. So whatever's in this warehouse is going to be whatever's in that warehouse. Whatever's in that warehouse is going to be in that warehouse. Imagine it's like it's a shared network, and everything kind of transfers between the warehouses instantaneously. So if this guy brings a cart with some logs, it will immediately be available. If it delivers it to the warehouse, it will immediately be available in that warehouse, and then also immediately available in that warehouse. And the same thing applies to the timber. As long as there's timber in the warehouses, it will be available here, which means you'll be able to build any building that requires timber immediately. You just have to wait for it to go into your warehouse. So we're going to increase the population a smidge more. And we're going to use the copy and paste tool as an example. So this is a copy tool, and I'm going to use it to connect up these buildings in a slightly faster way. Now if I want to rotate a building, you just press the middle mouse button down and it'll rotate it for you, just like so. Right, connect. Nope, you can make all sorts of lovely patterns and shapes and whatnot with these buildings. I think I'm slightly off center. I am, which is going to drive me absolutely potty, but we can address that quite easily by the relocation tool. So what we're going to do is we're going to click and drag, and we're going to literally drag all the way up to that point,
a new milestone,
and we're going to position it into where we want it to be positioned. Now I suddenly realised that the reason why that isn't perfect is because we haven't got that top bit. So I'm just going to reposition it back. And reposition this road instead. There we go. Oh, perfect. Now he's just letting us know that there's a beautification option. Now you'll notice, while I was doing all that, I broke the connection between the roads. So you'll notice that the icon has reappeared above the harbour. So if I reconnect it, that'll fix that problem. Just like so. And just going to reposition it one more time, just so we can have it perfectly symmetrical. Just like so. There we go, perfectly symmetrical. Doesn't have to be, but I just like it. So you'll notice that we've got a few more things unlocked once our population went up. Now,
Do you not have trouble enough?
we've now got worker clothes available to us. So let's build the worker clothes production chain. And you can see that the worker clothes icon has suddenly appeared below. So this is going to require a sheep farm and a framework knitters, not knickers. And we're going to build that just down here.
We're taking
So this building requires the base building, and then it's telling us that we're going to need to build some modules. So we're going to actually need to build these modules. Now you'll notice that we can build them anywhere within this kind of influence zone. So that's where we're going to build it, and that seems like a relatively compact design. And now you can see that we've got some sheep. And in the same way of the other production buildings, it is going to build, well, it's going to harvest the wool. And we'll be getting 2 wool every minute. And you'll notice that the building has got an influence zone as well. Now, as long as there's a warehouse within these influence zones, it will deliver it to the warehouse. But also, there's a reason why I built that there. What it will also do is it will preferably deliver it to the next production building in the chain. So it'll prefer to deliver its resources not to the warehouse but to the framework knitters. So even though the framework knitters is further away than the warehouse, it will deliver to there. Now, we haven't really talked about ratios yet, so we'll have a quick jabber on about that here. So this building is a building that produces every 30 seconds, and this building here is another building that produces every 30 seconds. So this is a 1-to-1 ratio. For every item this makes, this will be able to consume it and produce and then relocate. So that is what it's going to do. Now for the first item, it's once this building was generated, it went, hey, where is the nearest amount of wool? And at the time, I'm assuming this building didn't have any wool available to deliver. So it's gone all the way down to the warehouse to pick up. But the next volley of wool should turn up from here and to be delivered here. So you can see that it has already generated some wool, and now it's going to deliver it to here, even though the warehouse is technically there. So there we go. Now the building's got wool. It's going to process it into the worker clothes. We've even got another delivery of wool coming this way as well. Now, I did mention earlier about the golden tickets and the in the main menu, the grand, I can't remember what it's called, the grand something. But if we press this button here, if we purchase anything, it will deliver these items to the warehouse. Now, I know that I've got one item that is available, and if I do that, it will deliver it to us. Now, what's happening is somewhere on the map is a airship flying on over, and once it gets to us, then it'll ask us a question. I'm going to say no, but if I say yes, the item that I bought in the Grand Gallery, that's what it was called, the gallery, will be immediately available in our items window. So we've been generating some worker clothes for a little while now, and we're starting to get to the point where we're going to be storing them soon. And once we store them, we'll be able to distribute them to our wonderful farmers. There you go, you can see it starting to fill up. There's that airship. It's pretty, isn't it?
Ready for your delivery?
Nope, I don't want it, but thank you.
A nice journey nonetheless.
Cheers, bye bye. Marvellous. So going back to here, if this fills all the way up to 100%, we would have hit all of our goals and we'll be rewarded with 2 extra farmers, and we'll be generating 3 coins. Now at the moment we're only more than halfway, but not fully satisfied, so we'll only generate the 2 until we hit the third. There we go, it's changed to a third. So we've now got enough satisfaction to basically warrant us gaining the full coins per this item. So we're getting a full 3 out of 3 for that, and a full 1 out of 1 for that. So we're now generating 4 coins per house that we've got. So you'll see that we are generating 80 coins per all the farmers that we have, and our current maintenance cost is outweighing that by a little bit. So by 90 in fact. So let's see if we can offset that again. Now we haven't spoken about happiness yet on the the farmers, and we're going to look at that tab now. So you can see these are all the factors that influence the happiness of our farmers. So straight away we can see down here.
A cup of coffee. You've been playing for 2 hours.
Oh blimey. You can see down here that we've got the pub option, and you can see that we've unlocked the pub. So let's build the pub. Now we could probably build the pub here. I think that's a nice place for the pub. Now you can see that we haven't attached it to the road network, which means that we're not getting the benefit, even though there's loads of people at the pub. So let's attach it to the network. And you can see that over here is all really bright green, but over here it's quite light, so it's not having the same effect. And you can see this on the residence itself. So you can see here that this building is 100% satisfied, and this building over here is only partially satisfied. Now what we can do to change that is we can build a road here to here, and you can see that now we've got a whole lot more satisfied. So you can see that's 100%, 100%, and slightly less than 100%. Now what we could do is we could offset that by building another pub over here, or by repositioning it into a better position. But we're going to leave it there for now. So we've also unlocked a fire station. Now we really don't want to have any fires happen, so we're going to build a fire station as well. So we could build it in here, but we're not. We're going to build it over here. And you can see that the fire station has also got an influence zone. See how this area here is closer and it's brighter? This means that it'll be able to react and also reduce the possibility of a fire within this brighter zone. See? Very low. Where over here it may be different. How it's low there. See? So now we've got the pub, you'll notice that we've got more happiness. So we've got things like the newspaper, pollution, worker conditions, the island's at peace, we're not at war with anybody, so that has an influence, and the luxury needs that we're providing is also having a positive effect. And one of the luxury needs is having a pub for the for the farmers. That's quite important to them, and that generates 12 out of 12 happiness for everybody that's 100% happy. It also even generates us a little bit more coinage. Now you've got to remember that the buildings that we just built are service buildings, and they have a upkeep cost associated with them. So even though this one's generating us a little bit of gold, we're still worse off than we were before. But this building has got the capability of providing the pub service to a lot more than the population that we've got. So let's increase that population. We're going to go here like that. Oh, okay, we're somewhat limited because of this. let's get rid of some of these buildings. This is part of the campaign request, so basically they're asking us to clear some of the ruins, so we're just going to get rid of them. A few of them anyway. Now you can do that by dragging over. It makes them a little easier to find, I find.
Mourning is eased. Now we have others for company, sibling. It's been a hard day of labor for us all. We should cater to our tired, hungry people.
There we go. Right,
Help
okay.
enough to
We're all
demolish the
starting to
larger
go away now.
ruins.
Right,
Let's
brilliant.
breathe some life into this place.
Righto. So, as we get more citizens that we're providing their needs for, you'll notice that we are generating more gold.
It's been a long, hard day. The people need to rest and maybe wet their whistle.
Oh, this is the campaign kind of walking us through. So they're wanting us to produce snaps now. So that's what we're going to do next, which is also the first requirement for improving happiness. So that's what we're going to do now. So we've got a nice little chunk of land over here that's not doing a whole bunch. So we're going to grab some potatoes. And
Thank you for all you've done.
oh, would you look at that? That's very generous of you. So the potato building requires a base building, and then it is our first like farming building, this one is. So we have to build modules just like we had to build for the sheep farm, and you click and drag. You'll notice down in the bottom corner here it says potato farm. You can see the two numbers. What we're aiming for is to get 72. Now we've got 72 out of 72. This will reach 100% efficiency. If it was less, then it wouldn't have reached 100%. So say I only built 50% worth of the 72, then it would have only allowed me to go up to 50% efficiency. This will just keep rising all the way up to 100 now. And then this is the item that it produces. Now it's saying that there's no warehouse in range. Now even though there is a warehouse nearby, because it's on the road network, can you see the influence area? You see how it only reaches to here? It doesn't actually reach into there. Now what we can do, instead of moving it or relocating it, we can build the Snaps distillery here. So as long as it's in range for the Snaps distillery, you can see that it moves. You can see up here, now it's moving. So if we built it here, that wouldn't do anything. But if we built it here, it's in range of that, and it's also in range of the warehouse. So there we go. I'm going to build that there. And what this will do is it's going to deliver it to the Snaps distillery. And then it'll go from the Snaps distillery into the warehouse. And then that will be an eligible resource to provide to the farmers. So at the moment the average happiness on our island is only 9, so we can make steps to improve that somewhat. So what we could do is we could take away some of the worker conditions, make it, you know, less shift time to work if you like, and that will give us a +8 happiness, which has suddenly practically doubled our island's current happiness. At the moment it's not made too much of a difference. Let's say we did that with the snaps as well. Well, let's just say 10% on the snaps. Let's say 15% on the fish. Let's say 50% on the wood. All of a sudden we've got a happy population. Now, a happy population is more likely to start festivals in our honor, and festivals can do all sorts of fun stuff. But generally, it's always a positive, it's never a negative. It makes people more safe, it makes people more happy, And if people are more happy, they're more likely to volunteer, for example, for the fire station. So you see, this is the fire station. At the moment, the fire chance is low. Now, if there was a fire, these guys would rush to go and deal with it. Now, let's say we had multiple fires happening all over the city. Now, for each fire station, you have 2 fire fighting units to go deal with the fire. But they only deal with 1 building at a time. So each unit will deal with 1 building. So if we have a happy population, oh, we're just 1 short of a. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Happy days. So you see how it changed to the third from 1 to 2. So that means if we have a fire, these people will be willing to help put it out. So basically, we've now got 4 units to deal with fires within this area. So we're very capable of putting out fires if one's started off. Now you can see here that we've got our very first.
Since the funeral, and the cost. Oh, why, it was extortionate.
Indeed.
Repay me now, or sell up.
Okay.
I feel sick to the stomach that Edvard could ask so much of us so soon after Father's death.
Okay.
You will not spoil my plans with your tardiness.
Alright. So this is basically a quest. He wants some of the snaps. Obviously we want to provide our citizens with snaps, so we're going to deal with that. Now we've got another quest option over here as well. We're just going to wait for this one to finish because he's going to jabber in a second.
Your people are recovered and desirous to proceed. Set them to it. We're going to need as much space as we can clear.
There we go. So another bit of the quest to get rid of that bit. So we're going to start this quest as well.
I got something perplexing, needs setting straight.
Alright. Well, we're going to press OK to accept the quest. And you can see down here that they want 15 tons of wood. Now if I've already got it, it'll pretty much provide it immediately. But it looks like I haven't because it hasn't auto-triggered.
What to do with free time?
So we've got one there, and we've got one there.
Speak to our humble cousin. He writes of a worker riot in Bright Sands.
Alright, I'll go down in a second.
Seems we are not alone in our contempt for Edvard.
Well, it looks like that's going to kind of provide itself, because once I hit my limit, my island storage limit, which is shown here and here as well, you can see it's shown. Also, the timber won't be able to produce anymore, which means this item will begin to stockpile until it can't produce anymore. Let's do a little bit of the campaign for a moment. Now you can see that we've now got a whole lot more on the map going off. So the map has appeared and we have a whole bunch of stuff that is unlocked to us. So I'll just explain what's going off here and then we'll do a little bit more of the quest. So we have the island's name that we are currently over. See if I move over to Bright Sands, changes. So this is everything to do with this island. So wherever we're positioned on the map, we will get, if we're over an island, it'll give us basically the information for it. So this island has the fertility of potatoes, grain, red peppers, and nitrate deposits. So those are all the things that we can build on this island. And we can also have some clay deposits. So that's a clay deposit there, and there. That's all 3. Now if you click on them, it'll basically take you to them. And the same thing with the iron lodes. So we've got iron deposits here, and there's a coal one, zinc, copper, limestone, and then we've also got some oil springs as well. So those are all the resources that we've got available on this island. Now you'll notice when we got rid of some of those ruins, it kind of gave us a whole bunch of timber. which we can kind of add to our stockpile, but that's why it's all there. I'm just going to click it just to kind of get rid of it. I don't really need any of it. It's not really a big deal. Okay, so the quest is to go down to Bright Sands, which is just down here. Now, this is the entirety of the map. You can see that we've got the pirates. Now, if I go down here and hold click, I'll be able to drag and look around. I can see some of the AI players that are building things. There's one of their settlements. Here's another one of the settlements. There should be another player. There we go. There's Wibbly. That's his settlement at the moment. So, we're not doing too bad, even though we're going quite slowly. Now, he's advanced to the workers. Check him out. And then here we have Bright Sands. So, you can see that this is an absolutely wonderful place to look at. If, for whatever reason, you're like, oh, I hate this angle, I can't get it right, oh god, I've got the wrong position, I can't remember which way everything looks and I'm lost. Well, what you can do is you can just press this little M button up here, the for north, and it'll kind of reset your camera for you, which is quite nifty
Ready
at
to
times.
repay my charity?
Yes.
Don't think you're finished, brat.
So.
I loathe the reek of lanolin.
Oh, this is because I picked up all those
smocks
lumps and it's just deposited them there.
Tell me you've managed something.
Okay.
Ba, black sheep.
Oh, who wanted
Have you
some?
any wool? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 4 bags full.
Brilliant.
Is there no limit to Uncle's shameless demands?
Oh, we're even making a profit. Look at that, making a profit. We're winning. Yay! And I believe we should begin now to start stockpiling the wood. So this will fill up to the max, and then that'll fill up to the max, and then everything will start decreasing down in efficiencies, and then it will start delivering it to the warehouse. The next item, the low down, will then start stockpiling. So that should resolve itself. Now, there's a mission down here, you can see with the little star.
I just know you'll give for a worthy cause.
We would be interested in that, but we're busy. Sorry, love.
Oh really? You're as naughty as the children.
So we got a minus reputation for declining a request. That can sometimes happen. Right. So it says we want to come over here to have a look at what's going off. Now, it's asking us to have a look around, and we're looking for a worker riot. So let's have a look, see if we can find one. There we go. So it's asking us to basically interact with this. So you'll notice how the cursor has changed into like a hand grabby cursor. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to click it. Oh look, it's even reacted to us.
Than stay. Our flags still wave for Sawmill. Let Edvard oppress us no more.
Alrighty. So the mission's now changed. It wants us to find 5 more worker riots and interact with them. So that's what we're going to do now. There's another one. Any more? There's another one. There's 2 more. There's another one. It's an absolutely lovely place, isn't it? You can tell they put a lot of effort into trying to make this nice. Oh, I've lost it. Where did it go? There they are.
A life away from Edvard? We're on board. Only we've no ship to get on board of.
If you pick me, you may have my boat. It's my poor aunt's legacy. Her second husband was a decent sailor.
There we go. So it's basically asking me to interact with this guy over here now. That's what we're going to do. You see if I click on here, it's going to jolt me over to them. So if you ever don't really know where you need to be, just click here and it'll kind of jolt you over. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to interact with the object. We've done that. Now we've got a ship available to us. Isn't that interesting? It looks like a very cool ship. So we're going to interact with the ship.
Everybody on board? Good. I shiver at the thought of staying here another second.
Excellent. Yes.
What? Has your cleft of the family no shame that it now resorts to abducting my workers? The Queen's ambassador himself shall hear of this.
Abduction is a severe accusation.
Yes, that is the time.
And if I may, excuse me, a false one. We left Edvard quite willingly.
Pencil polishing popinjay. I should have been rid of you long ago.
I see nothing criminal. A bit of interfamilial bickering is only natural, and hardly a matter for the crown. And as for you, I have quite forgotten my manners. Sir Archibald Blake, ambassador and confidant to the Queen. Despite the circumstances, Her Majesty and I were pleased to hear of your return. Your father's death was a tragedy. We regret he never had the chance of a fair trial.
The real tragedy here is the vast funeral bill that goes unpaid, while this brat is living the life of O'Reilly.
Sadly, your uncle has indeed alerted me to some floating liabilities. I fear you have no choice but to settle them if I am to grant you your crown shipping license.
Edvard registered the debt officially.
Don't worry. That old tyrant can't hold us back anymore.
Indeed. Once my letterpress is up and running, the truth will come back to haunt Edvard. For your hospitality, please use my ship howsoever you may wish.
Now that sounds like good news.
We've got a ship. Nifty. Right, let's pick up some of these bits.
As to the debt, my hands are tied, but it may warm Her Majesty's heart to see a new enterprise taking shape.
Maybe Edvard will try to prevent us owning a shipyard.
There we go.
But for now, let's at least house those workers.
Because the storage is full, you see, so it's just throwing them out. Have we still not caught up with that yet? No, we are starting to build a bit of a stockpile. Right, so we haven't really spoken about two big subjects. We'll upgrade one of the houses to workers because we can kind of do that now. So this is how you do that. You notice that there's a visual change and that the requirements have changed as well. You'll also notice that at the top that it actually takes your farmer residence
Workers
away.
can handle stubborn debris on ditch water. If it's to be the center of our new enterprise, it needs to be immaculate.
Okay.
Honest work, that's all we ask.
So you'll notice that it takes your farmers away.
Unionism is our future. Us filings swept into an iron tide. The rattle of the workers. Freedom and equality for all.
Yep. All for you, mate. So that'll...
Our dream of a shipyard is impossible without plenty of qualified hands.
Thank you. Is it my go? Can I talk now? That'll turn the farmers into workforce. So here's another example. We've got 120 and we've got 10 workforce. We're going to be upgrading the residents from farmers to workers
With
straight
several
away.
passionate young reporters enlisted, our publishing house is already well underway.
So you can see now that we've now got 20 workers, where we previously only had the 10. So that's how that works. That's a big part, and with every citizen type that will react the same way. Okay, we haven't really spoken about the statistics screen. Now this is a big bunch of information that I'm about to let you know about, so brace yourselves. So there are multiple ways of accessing the statistics screen, and that is by clicking down here, or you can click here. Basically, wherever you see this icon, you can get at it. So we're going to click it in any of the single ways. Now, whichever type of building you accessed it through is likely to end you up on that particular tab. We're just going to click on the production tab. In fact, no, we'll go for the item tab first, because we'll go that way backwards. So here is the statistics screen. Now this is going to give you a whole bunch of information about a whole bunch of things. Now if we have multiple islands, that will show here. That will show you new world, old world, every world that you've currently got access to will show you in here, and all the islands relevant to each particular region. So that will show you there. Though we're on the items tab at the moment, so this is going to show us all the items that we've got available on every island. Now at the moment we don't have any items available on any of our islands, which is why it's not showing anything. But we can use all these tabs up here just to filter that. It'll show us the source and the item's current location. Easy peasy. Population. Now this one we've got some data that we can use. So this is our population of all our islands again, and this is how many worker farmers we've got. Sorry, how many farmers and how many workers that we have on this island currently connected to our road network. So we have 28 buildings of farmers, and we have 2 buildings of workers, and this is their maximum capacity of how many farmers we could go up to, because it's 700. So if we fulfilled every single need available to them, we could potentially get 700 farmers out of it. But at the moment we're only producing that many. Sorry, we're only providing resources to allow us to have that many. Same thing with this bit down here. So that's that. And then over here gives us a bit of a guide to how we've grown over the recent time. And over here is a breakdown of each building, where it's located. So for example, if I click here, it will bring me to that particular building. And if I click there, it'll take me to that particular building. It'll tell me how happy these people are. So for whatever reason, these guys over here aren't as happy as these guys up here. And that's likely because they're further away from the pub, for example. Or they're not getting the best supply from the marketplace. So that's what that one is, and you can filter it through there. We can also filter it through population. So if I haven't got, so for example, if I was slightly too far away from the marketplace, that may not allow me to have the full 5 out of 5 fulfillment. So if I wanted to check all of my buildings for that, I could scroll down here and check it, and that way I wouldn't have to click on every single one. I'd just be able to scroll down here and see that every single person is being fully satisfied with every requirement that they wish to have. And you can see here that we've got another little happiness window. So with 40%, sorry, with plus 40 happiness for them and plus 17 happiness for our workers.
A competitor raised a settlement.
That's just letting us know our competitors raise a settlement. Now the finance tab, that's a little bit more flavorful. So this is basically all of the current factors that are affecting our finances. Now there are a bunch that haven't really activated yet, but so for example warships, we haven't got any warships, but there's a whole lot more that's going to activate as we go into the game. For example, royal taxes, that hasn't activated yet. We can have influences that happen with the newspaper as well. We can have positive and negative ones. This is what we're gaining as a positive, and this is what we'll lose as a negative, as an expense, as an income. So at the moment we're not gaining any currency from our paper, but what we are gaining is currency from our workers. So we're gaining 119 from that. And our current expense for all the maintenance build costs of all our buildings and ships and things like that, and infrastructure is basically attributed down here, and we can filter that if we wanted to. Here is one of our ships, and it will tell us where it is and what's going off with it and what it can do. This is its damage value, this is its attack value, this is its current upkeep, and this, if I click here, will take me straight to it, just like so. Let's go back to the statistics screen. Now we've got storage. So this is basically what's happening with the items as a bit of an overview. And again, we can filter it to whatever we want. So if we were looking for wool, for example, we can go into agricultural products and then go to wool, and it can tell us what's going on with it, what our current storage level is. So we're interested in wood at the moment. So raw materials, you can see that once that goes up to 15, then that quest thing will probably pop up and say thank you. We could wait a moment for that. No, we're not patient enough for that. It's also going to tell us how much timber we've got available and bricks, because bricks is the next thing. You'll notice that we've got little green arrows, we've got like little arrows pointing to the side. That indicates stable, that indicates that we're growing here, and if it was a downwards facing red arrow, that would indicate...
For me?
Yep, well there we go.
I wish I'd a goose for your kindness.
Brilliant, well we got an item. Fantastic. So now that item will now show in our items thing, because that's now in our inventory on the island. So there you go. It also tells us the sale price of each item. So you can see here that sausages are worth 96 and a timber is worth 10. If we wish to buy it, if we wish to sell it, timber is worth 4, and sausages are worth 38, for example.
Trade agreement between competitors has ended.
Oh dear. Right now, production, that's a really interesting tab, and this is a tab that I tend to use it for more than anything else. So this is going to tell us how we're producing and how well we're producing in terms of requirement. So the island will be able to tell us how much we need to provide 100% of the want for that item. So for example, we've got a fishery, right? That produces every 30 seconds, or it would do if it was at 100%.
Your compassion for your people is admirable.
Thanks. And it'll give us a little bit of an average, so it'll have a little bit of flexibility, but essentially, as long as we're kind of really close to that mark, it will give us a solid round number. So at the moment it's saying that we are supplying 2 every 1 minute, and the island is consuming 1 every 1 minute. So we are making a +1 ton of fish every minute. So we've got an excess of 1 ton every minute according to this. Now, if this was all the way up...
Brush-footed butterflies. Please allow me the chance to study them.
I'm just going to say no thank you. Oh, she's not very happy with us, is she? So you can see the higher up this bar goes, the more likely that is going to change to the next amount. So that is the active demand for for that item so to be fulfilled. Same thing with potatoes. So at the moment there is a 2 for 2 requirement. So this is producing 2 tons every 1 minute and is providing 2 tons to someone. So it has a requirement of 2 tons and we are providing for 2 tons. So that's perfect. That's a 1-to-1 ratio with this. So this item here has a requirement for 2 tons. So this is what's providing the snaps facility. So that is why that is at 2. And that is why it can produce 2, because it is getting 2. So that's why that is as close to 100% as I've let it. Now I've manually changed that via the worker conditions that you saw earlier, because we don't really need a huge amount. And the happiness of the island was worth making them a bit happier. But you can see here that the requirement, the demand for that item is still only 1. So we're making a positive item, we're making an extra item, which means we've got room to expand if we want. And that's going to be the same for our worker clothes. But you can see that the blue bar, the demand bar, is very close to tippling onto the requirement for 2. So all that's telling me is we need, or we are just about satisfying the requirement for worker clothes. So if we don't intend to grow our island, and we've got a fair amount in storage, it's very likely that that's going to stay perfectly stable for a very long time, and we won't need to change anything with it for ages. And we're making a good profit out of that. We're making 70 profit, you know. So as long as nothing changes, i.e. the population doesn't get bigger, we should be fine. And you'll also notice that there's a requirement now for sausage, which is a worker requirement. And now at the moment we're not providing anything for the workers. So that's why that has nothing in the green box. But the blue box above has a no requirement, no need for it at the moment, which is rather odd. I was kind of expecting it to have 1 or something in there, but we do have it there. So they do want it. For whatever reason, it just doesn't show for whatever reason, but they do want it. So in order for me to stop providing for that, we're going to very quickly, well, actually, I think we're going to call it there. That's what we're going to do. We're going to call it there. That's a whole bunch. So that is your quick guide. If you like this video and you want even more information, I can keep this series kind of going. The idea is to kind of just help people kind of get into Anno and kind of, you know, give you a whole bunch of information. So if this type of content is something that you like, please let me know. Please comment in the descriptions. If you like it, then why not like it? If you want to do that thing that starts with S, then you know, that'd be great too, because that gives me a great indication that you appreciate this type of content and that you'd love to see some more. And I've also got some other series that I'm doing as well. Like, I'm playing this game in expert mode. At the moment, I think I've got a good 25 episodes, and each one of them's well over an hour long. So you know, you're more than welcome to join me in those. I've even got some speed runs as well, which kind of goes through this process but at a much faster rate. And there's some tips videos and all sorts. I even do another series on a game called Total War Warhammer 3 which is a little bit of a running gag on that, which you may or may not enjoy. But if you are interested, please do have a look and check me out. Right, that's it. Bye.